Welcome back. The reading and correcting of A Wasteful Death. If you want to listen to these live, they are every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. Today, we are doing chapters. Marlot checked the clipboard by the gym's entrance. Trembor wasn't strict on how things happened, but it could get busy. Everyone had to mark down the rings they were using and how long. Trembor's name wasn't on it, and he wasn't here yet. Because the gym was close to their office, they come at least 3 times. It hadn't happened this week. It had quickly become their routine to reserve a ring as soon as one of them arrived. The place could fill up. Paul wrote down his name on ring 2 for the next hour and a half. With the room, the 8 rings were occupied, one by a tiger and lion wrestling, the other a long dingo shadow boxing. The lion for a moment, comparing him to his lion. This one's mane was lighter, and his muscles were leaner. All in all, better look. Noticed something glint on the tiger's chest, head. All didn't know. Those who went. Jim only had fighting rings. Grabor, the old badger who owned it, never bothered bringing the strength-building machines. He catered only to those who preferred staying in shape the way it was meant by fighting. Patrons were all predators. Hey, Grabor. Badger looked. Marlot indicated the clipboard. Getting popular. The way things are going, me and Trembor will have to start reserving ahead of time, too. Yeah, well, I run a good place, you know that. Word gets around. Got off his head only just peeking above the counter. Walked around it. Rabbit came back yesterday, he said, taking towels out from the closet and lying on the shelf. Fellow stared at him. Came back? You mean he survived? Gray hair had entered the gym just as he and Trembor were leaving last week. His clothing tatered at the edge, and he'd had Marlot had been surprised, but he'd written enough as someone to die. Yeah. He stepped in an empty ring and glared at everyone there. We had a good laugh, and Riley, the cougar, she goes in the ring. I figure I'll have to get a new mat for that one. Gonna put him down, and blood won't come out. He wiped the floor with her. After that, Morosar and Farnigar tried to beat him. They failed. They left. And yesterday, Paul had trouble believing the badger. He didn't remember the hair being that built at all. He was prey. Prey didn't look to fight predators. Those who'd been here the other day wouldn't fight him, but there were a few who hadn't fight and got their tails handed to them. He fought 4 of them before leaving. Who is he? Badger shrugged. Hasn't he paid? Shook his head. Didn't think he'd lived that first time. Didn't seem right to take dead man's money, and I was too surprised to see him again to ask for it yesterday. Marlot shook his head in amazement. If the hair came in while Marlot was here, he was going to fight him and see how good he actually was. He turned and headed to the changing room. El Wolf stepped out and he stood watching her. She had brown, gray, and blonde marbled defined muscles and walked like she owned the gym. Marlot loved Trembor with her heart, but he wasn't immediately give a confident. He was almost done changing when the lion walked in. Trembor bent down and looked. Morning? Marlot stared at the lion for fighting gloves are very hard is groin. That? He growled and the moment something other than his lion licking him elsewhere. Trembor chuckled and undressed. He knew they were. And he known Trembor would do something. The lion's way of trying to get him to relax. Marlot watched his lion pull down his pants, his ass seductively. You're doing that to torture me. It was a good thing his gloves were already over his groin. Of course, putting himself on display for his lover. Torture because he's not willing to do it about it. Oh, or would just love the idea of us going at it in the changing room. Gulped as the image of him lying on back on the bench, him moving back and forth, slowly formed. The lion sniffed the air around the wolf and a lot. Hollow tone, bitter. That old badger wouldn't give a damn. Or took out his shorts from the small bag and put. Might actually enjoy the show. Heard the stories about what fighters like him used to do when they were in the ring. Hollow canted his head. Really? You think the stories are true? I always thought those rumors of them selling themselves as studs for that. No, the Wigglebird talked about it. That's how he was able to get the money to start the gym. That and being paid to dump other males. So you mean Prey paid him for that? It wasn't Prey. Marlot looked at this line and this Trevor didn't add anything. Come on, fight so cover up that lust with some good old fashioned exhaustion. I'll be there in a moment. I don't love to show the hint. Shorts. Chuckled. Someone called. Really looking forward to fighting me. Marlot, look. Fine. The ring. Don't take too long, or I'll have another partner. Figure looks like he could get the job done. Grinned and quickly left the room. Carlos sat in silence for it. Didn't matter how much he loved him. It could get on his nerve. He focused on putting his gloves on, made of padded leather and covered the top of his straps around his fingers and wrist ensured they stayed in place. Trembor required them and anyone from tearing their opponents. He'd already done slippers on his feet that had excess clawing. Marlot's fighting style didn't use his feet, Trembor's, but Trembor didn't allow it any. After that, he was fighting no longer showed any visuals. Unfortunately, he'd need a shower to get of the locker room. More predators, where the rings were occupied. A lot of people came already dressed to fight. There wasn't anyone just standing around. Advantage of coming first thing in the morning. The gawkers were sleeping. Took a few steps towards the ring, then faltered, punching and kicking the air. Followed and felt his erection reawaken as he watched the light ripple at how this flowed over his shoulder, down his chest, narrowing as it short. He hurried to the ring, climbed in before anyone could notice his erection. He began his warm-up stretches, looking at the lion while he did so. He knew that his face gave himself gave knew that his face gave himself gave him away to anyone who saw him looking at her, and what frightened him, he hoped he would never not calm by the side of his majestic body. Went directly from warming up to sparring, exchanging a few light blows at first. Trembor tended to stay still while Marlot moved around. The lion's advantage was strength, while wolf had agility. I think we might be looking at Aiden's case the wrong way. A punch in the Marlot moved under the punch, put a leg behind the lion, back with his arm across the chest. Okay? Trembor fell back, but Marlot barely moved in time to avoid the foot that swung at his head during the fall. Marlot knew from experience that his head would ring for a while if the let the movement roll him on his back and then crouch. He looked at the wolf. What if we have the importance of the sequence event on the attack backwards? He launched him. Marlot threw himself to the floor and he avoided being bowled over by lion's superior mass and jumped to his kick. You think rape was motivation? He aimed his punch at the lion's throat. Trembor swiped it aside with a. Trembor's next blow sent Marlot reeling at it. Stayed back, giving Marlot time to catch his breath. Those who don't kill for food usually do it out of anger, passion. Rape is about power and control. All the perpetrator really needs in that case is an opportunity. Why would she let him? Why would she let him in? Or charge the lion, dodging the punch that came, placed his foot behind the Trembor's leg again, but this time Marlowe flashed a quick smile as Trembor moved as he'd expected. His back was exposed, and Marlowe elbowed him hard in the kidneys. First, as he moved forward, he kicked Marlowe in the chest as the wolf tried to press his advantage, sending him to the floor. The lion leaned against the rope, keeping his breathing shallow until the pain. Someone knocks on your door, offering to show you a selection. Oh, I don't know. In your case, let's say computers. What do you do? Marlowe didn't bother getting up. His head rang from that. Let him in. I'm a well-trained predator. I have to pass me. But I wouldn't let in someone who looked powerful enough to overtake me. I'm not stupid. Smiled at him. It was a smile. No, you're not. But think about Aiden. She's the vice president of one of the largest farmers out there. Could she even afford to think there might be someone out there who's stronger? Overconfidence. Followed not. Yeah. On and his foot flew at the wolf. Up on his face, only to end up on his back as Marlowe threw himself under it, forward and elbowed the lion in the back of the knee as he passed by. Are you implying? Marlowe grinned as he stood. He offered to the lion. You were implying? Marlowe asked, grinning as he stood. He offered his hand to the lion. Wrong thing. Marlowe took the hand and stood, obviously. That still leaves the question of why he didn't bring the body back with him. Went to a corner, indicating he needed. Trembor went to the opposite. He didn't realize she was dying. Thought she finally submitted to him. But why Aiden? You said a rapist needs an opportunity. I don't see that here. Trembor leaned his back head. Don't know. The little I remember from rape crime dates back to my days at the academy, and I wasn't exactly paying attention. Already knew I wasn't specializing. Maybe it's a status thing? Marlowe nodded. Marlowe nodded, thoughtful. Someone in the vice division. Maybe we should pay her a visit before we get back to the office. Back to the office. Trevor nodded, stepped away from the corner. Marlowe grinned and launched himself at the lion. Trevor ran his fingers through his wolf's lustrous fur, wondering how it was that his lover, who cringed every time he touched him in public, became comfortable with it. Power. Was it simply that everyone else was doing it? The lion smiled as he lathers Marlowe's back. The wolf moaned as he dug his fingers muscle him. Like him, Marlowe's muscles were lean and dense. You could barely see them through the black fur. They didn't bulge like his. They were always ready to strike, ready to defend him. He loved to touch them, to feel them under the, knowing that when they were alone, he got to feel that strength. And the effect his lover had on him didn't show as he walked, making his mind wander. The advantage of being a few years older, yes. Then he wondered if 8 years qualified as just you. He resisted the temptation to bury his muzzle back and inhale his scent. They used the dryer together. The tube was designed for that since easier to dry fur would help. The air buffeted them on all sides, and done, they had a dozen wet towels to mostly dried bodies. The locker room was busier. Had to impeccably jostle people out of their ways. As he dressed, Trembor caught a rare sight. He turned to see Trembor looking at him, love is visible in his eyes, and that smile. It lasted only a moment before the wolf grew self-conscious. Trembor wanted to hug him so badly, show him how much that meant. He had to stop his hand from reaching for the wolf. Again, Trembor lovingly. That includes 17 of a Wasteful Death. If you are enjoying this, please give a like. Want to know when the next one's going to be up? Subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the book as well as the others in the series, they are available on all major e-retailer. If you want to support me, that's on Patreon. And also get access to just about everything I've written. listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I wish you a good day.